Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is SportsIQ with Larry Smith.
Tuesday here in the SportsIQ. Glad you're with us. Larry Smith coming to you from the Bluegrass today. No travel for once in my foreseeable future. If you follow along, you know that you need a roadmap to find out where I am every day. But we're going to be coming to you from the home base here for the foreseeable future. Hey, it is Underdog Tuesday for us today. College football. We're talking to a couple of insiders on some teams that we didn't think would be where they are right now. In a couple of minutes, Joey Johnston from the University of South Florida covers USF Bulls. Back-to-back wins over ranked teams, Boise State, and then the shocking win at Florida on Saturday. Miami's coming up this week. We'll talk to him about USF. And a bit later, Chad Bishop from the AJC joining us to talk Georgia Tech. Producer Tony's going to talk with him later on here in this hour. The Yellow Jackets 2-0. You know, we made fun of the bling rings after the 7-6 season last year. Imagine if they keep this thing going. What's bigger than diamonds? I don't know. I'm not a jeweler. I'm not a gem guy. But I don't know. Anyway, bottom line, a couple of really good stories in college football, and we've got those for you coming up here today as we have some really great guests here this week. Let's get to some quick headlines for you before we get to Joey. The NFL closing the books on week 1 last night in grand style. In Chicago, through 3 quarters, looked like it would be the new look Bears. Well, on their way to a victory, 17-6 lead over Minnesota. And then came the fourth quarter. New starting Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy, a year removed after that season-ending knee injury in the preseason last year. The young star out of Michigan. Second-year Viking making history by becoming the first NFL quarterback making his first start to account for 3 touchdowns in the final quarter of his debut. Of course he did. It's the Bears. McCarthy hit Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones with TD passes and then ran for a 14-yard score as well. As the Vikings come away with the 27-24 win. Caleb Williams did all he could for Chicago. He threw for 210 yards and a touchdown and led the team in rushing with 58 yards and another score. But the Vikings come out 1-0 to start the season. The Eagles certainly not resting on their Super Bowl laurels. Just days after that season-opening victory over the Cowboys, the team making 2 big additions to their roster. First signing pass rusher Za'Darius Smith to a 1-year deal on the edge. He was a free agent after finishing last season in Detroit. 3-time Pro Bowler with 69 career sacks. Then after learning backup running back Will Shipley will miss some time with a rib injury, Philly sending the 2026 5th and 6th round picks to Jacksonville for Tank Bigsby, who had only 5 carries for 12 yards in the Jags opener against Carolina. By the way, the league also let it be known that the fan in Buffalo who pushed on Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson's helmet Sunday night from the stands as he was leaving the field Sunday is now persona non grata in all NFL stadiums. Hope it was worth it. You will never again watch an NFL game in person unless you put on some kind of disguise. On the diamonds, meanwhile, Phillies and Mets kicking off that key 4-game series in Philly with an instant classic. Starter Aaron Nola and Mets rookie sensation Nola McLean went pitch for pitch. McLean, 7 hits, 3 walks in 5 1/3, but managed to keep Philly mostly at bay, allowing only 1 run. Nola, who just returned to the Philly rotation this month, was even better, giving up just 3 hits, striking out 7 in 6 strong innings of shutout ball. Came down to the 9th inning, the trade deadline pickup, Johan Duran slamming the door shut in the 9th when he struck out the 2 Mets with 2 runners on to help the Phillies beat the Mets 1-0. By the way, before the game, Philadelphia putting infielders Trey Turner and Alec Baum on the injured list. In Texas, Michael Hellman driving in all the runs with a grand slam and a double. Lefty Jacob Latz pitched 5 2/3 scoreless innings. The playoff-chasing Rangers beat the Major League best Milwaukee Brewers 5-0 Monday night. The Rangers now 75-70, moving within 3.5 games of idle Houston, the closest they have been in the AL West since also trailing by 3.5 back on May 30th. Texas, 17 games remaining. They just won 2 of 3 against the Astros. Cubs failed to capitalize, though, in the NL Central. They lose 4-1 to Atlanta as Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies each homered for the Braves. Garrett Crochet, 7 innings of 3-hit ball. The Red Sox shut out the A's 7-0. Boston moving within 1 game of second place New York, and they trailed the division-leading Jays by 3. Both San Diego and the Dodgers won last night. L.A. for the second time in 3 days. Nearly had a no-hitter. Tyler Glasnow and big training at Trinan combined to pitch 8 innings of no-hit ball before Tanner Scott gave up Colorado's first hit in the ninth. LA got the win 3-1. Padres needed a 10th inning sac fly from Fernando Tatis Jr. to give them the 4-3 win over Cincinnati. College football, and the big story this week is, of course, South Florida starting the season with back-to-back wins over ranked teams. Joining us now is Joey Johnston. He is the USF senior writer for USF Athletics. Joey, welcome to Sports IQ.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it and look forward to, talking about the USF Bulls, who are a very hot story right now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, go back 2 weeks before the Boise State game. Did you have any idea you guys might be ranked and have the entire country talking about this school out of Tampa here just 2 weeks into the season?
I'm not sure I imagined something like that. I knew the schedule was going to be very, very tough. I think I was thinking like a coach, 1 week at a time, just thinking about Boise State, trying to figure out a way for the Bulls to get a victory to start the season. I knew it was a gauntlet. I mean, Boise State at Florida at Miami is not what you recommend necessarily as a great way to start your season, but it's turned out great because the Bulls have won the first two. I think against Boise State, they won the game 34-7, played great defense, and that was a great sign because defense hadn't necessarily been the calling card. USF has really been sort of a team when it's had success in recent years, it's outscored the opponent. So to see that kind of defense being played really sent me a signal that, hey, maybe things are changing in a good way here. And that continued up in Gainesville against the Florida Gators, 18-16. The Bulls win it and really kept in check a very, very powerful Florida offense, a big offensive line, a very talented quarterback, DJ Lagway, but they only had 16 points. So that's a huge win to hold the Gators to 16 in Gainesville. So it looks like the Bulls not only can score points, they can play some defense, and that's a great combination.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thought it was first off to get the win in your opener against the team coming off the first ever college football playoff. To me, on that, like right away, hey, you know what? Boom! No matter what happens the rest of the way, that's a huge point in the season. You come back then, and South Florida, USF gets lost in the shuffle when you talk about the Big Three, and then Central Florida is in the Big 12. What does this mean to this program to get this kind of win over the SEC team right down the road there in Gainesville?
Yeah, it means everything. I mean, Florida has been such an established power in the SEC and on the national level. They're obviously the most established and most successful program in the state. To go up to Gainesville and win a game on that field was something that was a dream, I think, for USF when this program started. And I'm not sure people ever imagined it would ever happen. So there's that, and it just continues the great momentum this program has, not only for winning games and challenging for an American Conference championship and maybe getting into the college football playoff, but we're building a stadium here on campus that's going to open in 2027. The indoor facility opened a couple of years ago. The facilities are coming up right and left around here. So, and that doesn't even mention academically what's going on here. The USF a couple of years ago was named an AAU school, which is about as prestigious an honor as you can get academically. So tons of momentum for this school and this football program, and starting out 2-0 just makes that continue.
Yeah, the AAU program, for those who don't know, it is, like you said, one of the most prestigious notifications you can get, or the inclusion, the acceptance. I'm not sure what the term is. I think of the 18 Big Ten schools, 17 are AAU. I mean, it's a really big deal. Congratulations to USF for that. Now you go into this weekend, and I just saw somewhere, and you probably know this better than I do, that I think the USF has a chance to become just the 5th school in the AP polling era to start the season with wins over 3 ranked teams. Am I reading that correctly?
I think that's right. I know for sure that USF is one of 4 schools, or it was the 4th school in the AP era, which is 1936 to present, that has begun the season unranked and beaten 2 ranked teams. There's 4 of those. USF is the 4th. So beyond that, I'm not certain of what it would mean to beat Miami, but I can tell you that USF has never beaten 3 consecutive ranked teams in the history of the program. That is for sure. And this is the 29th year of the program. So any way you cut it, it's significant. It's another in-state foe. Beating the Florida Gators is special. Beating the Miami Hurricanes is also very special. And the interesting twist to all of this is USF has won at Miami before. In 2010, they went down and won at that stadium 23-20. So with that and a win at Florida State in 2009 and a win at Florida, USF is now the 9th school ever in the FBS to win at those 3 stadiums in the Big 3 of Florida. Just 9 ever. So that's a pretty good distinction as well.
It's really cool. You mentioned about getting the on-campus stadium. I recall when the Bulls played at the old Sombrero. I mean, back in the days, and of course, Raymond James recently, and now getting on campus. Building. Again, we talked about what UCF has done over in Orlando, kind of building up their program. You can see USF taking doing the same thing now with this, getting a chance to be on the national stage, that kind of thing. Tell us about the Bulls, the head coach and the players, and kind of how this team is put together to compete this year in the American Conference.
Well, after the 2022 season, the Bulls were 1-11, and they were looking for a head coach, and they hired Alex Golish, who was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee, a very high-scoring Tennessee team that beat Alabama that year in a fabulous game that you may remember at Neyland Stadium. So Alex Golish came in, and he had to build pretty much from the ground up. He had to bring in a lot of new players, had to build not only the talent level, but change the culture, change the attitude. The first year, the Bulls went 7-6 and won a bowl game against Syracuse 45-0. So that was a pretty good first year to start. Last year, it was sort of the same vibe to the season. 7-6, won an incredible Hawaii Bowl against San Jose State that went 5 overtimes. So 7-6, 7-6, both with bowl victories. This is year 3. People always look for year 3 for major progress. So I think the expectation was for the Bulls to take it up another level, which they have seemed to have done by beating Boise State and Florida. The Bulls came into this year with 54 new players, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but it's about what you got in this transfer portal era where so many players change places all the time. But it appears that USF has made some really good choices on these transfers. They have 6 to 8 of them who are starting in key roles and have really not missed a beat, have come right into the lineup and have made a name for themselves right away. They have an excellent quarterback in Byron Brown, who is into his 3rd season as the starter. He is a dual threat guy. He can pass it, he can run it, and he's a beast. Let me tell you, he's a beast. He's 6'3", 232 pounds.
Wow.
And when you run into him, you're going to go backward, not him. He is a tough kid and an unquestioned leader of this team. They've got a lot of talent, the skill positions for Byram to throw to. But again, the biggest change I can see that maybe can tell you that this team is ready to make another step is the defense is playing great. Got a lot of talent and speed and size on that defense, and they're playing as one unit right now. And if this continues, then I'm extremely optimistic about USF's chances to win the American and perhaps go into the college football playoff.
Yeah, that's exciting. And that's the thing I think that, there's that group of 5 spot and would be something to beat Boise and replace them there in this. I mean, are they a team? I mean, surely right now they're favored, but going into the season, were they considered a favorite in the American?
Yes. They were definitely a team to watch in the American. I think, probably predominantly you'd hear Tulane, you'd hear maybe Navy. Memphis always gets some good support, but USF is certainly among the 4 or 5 teams in the preseason that people were looking at. One thing that has optimism for USF is the schedule is pretty forgiving. They don't play Tulane in the regular season.
Okay.
They do play at Memphis and at Navy. Those are probably going to be the 2 biggest challenges, but it looks like a schedule that could be navigated if the Bulls continue to play this way. If they can beat Miami, I would say without question they have to be the favorites in the American. And that could mean maybe a meeting with Tulane in the American championship game. So that I have a feeling they're gonna wind up playing Tulane one way or another. But the runway to the playoff, if they can beat Miami, it's there. It's there. It's clear. and you got guys waving the flags, pulling you on for takeoff. I mean, I think this could actually happen. This could actually happen. The Bulls will position themselves really nicely. Now you got to win the games. You got to perform week to week. But with this kind of resume, if it comes down to a tiebreaker, I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to have a resume like USF if they can beat Miami, Florida, and Boise State.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to project to Saturday if the Bulls can beat the Hurricanes. Overnight party in Ybor City. What's the celebration going to be?
there will be one regardless if there's a game or not. But if a Bulls win, yes, for sure the town will be alive. And we have seen it. Tampa's a pro town, professional sports. We have the Bucks, we have the Rays of Major League Baseball, we have the Lightning, National Hockey League, we have professional soccer. And these are all really good teams that have won the championship. So, USF is not in a college town per se. It's competing against the pros for attention all the time. But I've seen it in the past, particularly the 2007 season when the Bulls got to number 2 in the country and they beat West Virginia, a number 5 West Virginia team at Raymond James Stadium. And I've been to a lot of games at Raymond James Stadium, college, and a lot of Bucks games. And that night against West Virginia, I still say is the loudest that place has ever been.
Wow.
So this city can get behind its USF Bulls when things are going in a good direction. We're already seeing it. It's a little bit crazy around here today. People are buzzing about this win against Florida. And if they can go down and beat Miami, then I think it's officially going to be a Bulls town for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I do know you guys lost your basketball coach last year. The very tragedy going in for brain surgery. And as I recall, the details did not come out of that. Maybe this would maybe lend a bit of healing lotion to get these wins and have a successful season coming off that tragedy last winter.
Yeah, that was Amir Abdur-Rahim, and he was a special guy. He came here in his first year, won the American Conference regular season, won 15 straight games, had a team that could have been picked for the NCAA, but wasn't, but went to the NIT. But we had 3 sellout crowds to end the season. And his statement then during the preseason warmups, as he put his players through some pretty rigorous practices, he said, "This is not the same old South Florida, my brother." And he kept saying that all year. And now Alex Golish is saying, Alex was very close to Amir. And the other night to his players, he said, "This ain't the same old South Florida, my brother." And everybody just went crazy cheering. So that's that was a basketball, phrase, but now I think it's going to be adopted by the football team. And it's true, because if the Bulls play like this ain't the same old South Florida, my brother, for sure.
Well, I love that. Love what you guys have done in these first couple of weeks. We'll be rooting, of course, for you guys the rest of the way, including against Miami. Producer Tony and I, we go way back to our CNN days. This is what college athletics is all about. You come together as young men, you watch them grow, and you go out and anything can happen. So on behalf of Sports Nation, we say congrats to USF, what you've done so far. We appreciate your time, Joey, and hopefully this thing will continue and you'll have time to come on and join us again.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for giving us a little publicity. We appreciate it, and we'll see what happens on Saturday. Should be interesting.
That's right. Well, enjoy the ride, Joey. Thanks so much, Joey Johnston, joining us here once again. He is the writer for USF Athletics. Obviously, has been a part of that program for a long time. We appreciate his insights, as we are all USF Bulls fans. We love the underdog and what they have done. 2 big wins and maybe a third this weekend against Miami. Okay, stay with us. Much more to come after this.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
877-927-3380. 877-927-3380. That's 877-927-3380.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-425-1161. 800-425-1161. 800-425-1161. That's 800-425-1161.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Welcome back here to the Sports IQ. One other NFL note that out of Monday night in Chicago, just before the game, Bears president Kevin Warren, he's the former Big Ten commissioner, sent a letter out to all the ticket holders saying, hey, listen, we are building a stadium in Arlington Heights. So it appears that the Chicago, that lakefront, the museum campus, as they call it there, they're going to build, basically tear down the stadium, but leave the pillars up and do a lot of green space and this big plan. It was like $5 billion. They needed the state to pony up some money. Illinois, as a state, they're having a lot of issues financially. They don't have the money to do that. They're going to take money away from schools and, parks to do that. So it appears that is out for whatever reasons. And so the parcel of land that they bought in Arlington Heights, the old Arlington racetrack, they spent almost $200 million to buy that from the Churchill Downs people. They've raised that property. It appears that is not going to be the site of a dome stadium, mixed-use entertainment district all around it. The reason Warren made this announcement is because they want to get this thing going in 2025 because they want to put in a bid for the Super Bowl in the year 2031, the first one ever in Chicago. It's a dome stadium, one of several on the way. Washington, Nashville, Cleveland, Philadelphia wants one. And so, again, the landscape changing. Just strange to have another cold weather city. Already Minnesota, Detroit, Indianapolis, now Chicago. They're going to have one again, Cleveland too. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But that's one of those other stories out of Chicago that came out of that game just before the Bears did what the Bears do and lose in the fourth quarter to Minnesota. A couple of college football notes to get to as well before we get over to Chad Bishop, talking to him about Georgia Tech. The biggest game on the college scene this weekend, number 15 Tennessee playing host to 5th-ranked Georgia. The Vols, though, without a couple of important players on defense, starting quarterbacks Jermon McCoy and Ricky Gibson III, according to CBS Sports' John Talty. McCoy still not ready to return to the field after tearing his ACL back in January. But Gibson's situation a bit more unclear. He injured his arm in the season-opening win versus Syracuse, after which Coach Josh Heupel declared that Gibson would miss an extended period. Well, he has still not been cleared to play this weekend. Meanwhile, things going from bad to worse at UCLA. They started the season 0-2. That's not good. And now the backup quarterback, Pierce Clarkson, has been suspended indefinitely pending the outcome of the legal process following his arrest for an unspecified incident. Is what the school told ESPN. According to the LA Sheriff's Department, Clarkson was arrested on Friday, a day before the Bruins' Week 2 loss at UNLV, and booked over the weekend before being released on a $30,000 bond. Again, the details of the arrest unknown at this time. His first scheduled court date is October 3rd, but whatever he did, it was not good. He's innocent until proven guilty, but he's also not playing right now for the Bruins. Suspended indefinitely. Tough times there. In the W, Ryan Howard scoring 18 points. Alicia Gray added 15. Atlanta beating Connecticut 87-62 Monday night. The Atlanta Dreams' Carl Semesco setting a WNBA record with his 29th win. That is the most by a rookie head coach, breaking the record that was set by Michael Cooper with the LA Sparks more than 2 decades ago. By the way, Cooper won the title that year. The number 2 on that list, Becky Hammon, she also won the title. So we'll see what happens with Atlanta. They're playing really well right now. The longtime Florida Gulf Coast University coach doing a great job at Atlanta in year 1 in the WNBA. By the way, the Dream now 29-14, 5th straight win. They move past Las Vegas for sole possession of second place right now with 1 game left, and that comes up Wednesday at Connecticut. Hey, stay with us. We've got more to come. More college football. Chad Bishop talking Georgia Tech with producer Tony up next.
Hey, airline travelers, let's say you have a problem and you need to change or cancel an existing airline reservation. What do? Well, Skywatch is a free service that can help anyone with any airline reservation fix it. Whether you want to cancel it, change your dates, or add passengers, we can help fix your airline reservations so you get exactly what you need. We've updated our computer database and now have access to every airline around the globe. So now you can make one phone call regardless of who booked your airline tickets, and we'll change it, cancel it, and fix it for you. We know the insider secrets to fixing reservations that the airlines don't want you to know about. So if you need to cancel, change, or modify an existing airline reservation, call Skywatch right now. It's a free call, so let us fix it for you. 800-413-7158. 800-413-7158. 800-413-7158. That's 800-413-7158.
Attention travelers. Next Tuesday, a major hurricane will cause complete chaos throughout the city. Food, water, and phone service will be in short supply. There will likely be panic citywide. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Attention business owners. Have you filed for your employee retention credit and been approved? Are you now waiting for your refund check from the IRS? Instead of waiting months to a year plus, how would you like to get your ERC money in about 10 days? Now you can. With ERCmoneyUpfront.com, we help business owners that have filed their employee retention credit and been approved to get their money faster. If you're getting between $75,000 and $5 million, we could get you up to a 70% advance on that money in about 10 days. To learn more about how you can get your ERC money faster, call this number right now. Speak with one of our funding specialists and have a text sent to your cell phone with details.
800-279-0419. 800-279-0419. 800-279-0419. That's 800-279-0419.
This is not a loan product except in California. An offer is not available in the state of Massachusetts.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Glad you're here with us here on the Sports IQ. It's a great Tuesday, September 9th. Let's get over to producer Tony, who has our next guest.
Well, thanks so much, Larry. And, it's going to be another busy week of college football coming up this weekend. A lot of great games going on. One of them, Clemson taking on Georgia Tech right there in Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. And we are joined now by Chad Bishop. He is the Georgia Tech beat writer for the Atlanta Journal and Constitution. Chad, thank you so much for taking time out and joining us.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much for having me. Great to be here.
So, Chad, let's dive into this game a little bit. The win at Colorado was really impressive. I just love the way the team controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part all night long. And Haynes King is an absolute beast. I mean, if there's a quarterback with more heart in America, I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, that kid is they use the word special a lot around Bobby Dodd Stadium when talking about Haynes King. He's just sort of that, old school throwback, college quarterback, puts us, like a Tim Tebow, like an Eric Crouch, like running the ball with reckless abandon and sometimes to his detriment, of course, with sort of the injury bug. But just the passion with which he plays, coming from East Texas, being the son of a high school football coach. I mean, just wants to win at all costs. So, just a really sort of, like I said, special player when it comes to that position. But then off the field, like, he's a huge leader, takes a lot of the young guys under his wing, really like a coach on the field. I mean, really, really close relationship with Chris Weinke and Buster Faulkner on that offensive staff. So he's a big part of the reason Tech has had some of the success they've had in the past couple seasons.
Yeah, I saw him, in that Colorado game. I was watching it a couple times. He'd reach up and he kind of grabbed that side a little bit. And I was like, oh boy, this is got to keep this guy healthy. Got to find a way to get him through 11 ball games this year.
And well, that was key this past week when Georgia Tech beat Gardner-Webb. Haynes King did not play. Aaron Philo played almost the entire game, the backup quarterback. But Tech's got a really good situation right now where they have, an outstanding backup quarterback in Aaron Philo, who they think will be the future of this program. And he can sling it around the yard too. So I almost equated to having two really good starting pitchers, right? Like, if one's not able to go, then the other can go out there and have just a dominant performance. We don't think the injury to Haynes King is long-term. In fact, I was on the field pregame against Gardner-Webb, and he was warming up, and even saw quarterbacks coach Chris Winkie look at him and say, "You good?" And he said, "Yeah." But then there was about a 35-minute weather delay, and they just said, "You know what? Haynes got cold again. Maybe we keep him out this one and see what Aaron Philo can do." So you'd have to drag Haynes King kicking and screaming from the stadium. If he's able to go, he's going to try to go.
Now, Clemson brings in a unique set of circumstances. You know, they already have one loss. You get that animal backed up into a corner.
Yeah.
I don't really think they can afford a second loss. So you're going to be facing a team that knows it could very well be playing for its playoff life in just the second week of the season.
Yeah, this is a very dangerous scenario for Georgia Tech, even though, Tech is, the quote unquote underdog, right? And they're playing at home, but they've lost 9 games to this Clemson team. So I think there's something mental about that, right? I mean, even though most of these guys probably haven't been a part of that long losing streak in this transfer portal era, there's still something to be said about that. And, Dabo Swinney has got this Clemson program to where it is for a reason, right? Like, these guys are going to be ready. Maybe it's going to be easier for them to go on the road and get away from some of the, the shouting, around Clemson, South Carolina. And maybe, that helps them, like you said, back against the wall sort of situation. Clemson, to me, just has too much talent to not be playing to the level that they have expected to be played at, right? So, I mean, they're going to come in here with all this talent and all these expectations. And I think they're probably, like you said, just going to probably bow up and say, like, look, we're still Clemson. We're still a really, really good football team, and come out swinging. So I think it's going to be a huge 4-quarter fight between these two ball clubs.
Yeah, it should be quite an interesting matchup. Clemson's really good defensively up front, and Georgia Tech loves to run the ball. So it kind of, seems to be one of those, the immovable object meeting the irresistible force kind of deal. Who has the advantage in your mind in that matchup, Chad?
I would sort of slightly lean towards Clemson because of the talent level of that Clemson defensive front, and because Georgia Tech's offensive line, they're not necessarily young, but those guys haven't played together a ton. Malachi Carney at right tackle came from South Alabama. Left tackle Ethan McKinney performed at a freshman All-American level 2 years ago, but was in and out of the lineup in 2024 with some injuries. Harrison Moore is a new center. They've been switching centers a little bit in these first 2 games. So just sort of those guys gelling together and meshing together. I have no doubt by the end of the year, they could be a very dominant offensive line. And of course, they ran for a ton of yards against Colorado in the opener. But again, where they come together this week, will it be week 6, week 7? They've played pretty well in spurts. And we know that Brent Key, being the former offensive lineman, demands a lot of that group. And he challenged them the week of the Colorado game, and I'm sure they'll be challenged again going into this Clemson game. Like, look, this is another high impact, high quality defensive front you're going to have to go against. And so I'll be curious to see if they can get that job done on Saturday.
The interesting thing watching that Colorado game, and I watched it over twice, is I really saw a lot of hitting on the Georgia Tech defense. They were laying the wood to some people. Can they continue? I know, Gardner-Webb didn't really present much of a challenge this past weekend, but can they really continue to be that physical throughout this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's sort of the name of the game for this unit under first-year coordinator Blake Gideon, who came over from Texas, a former safeties coach at Texas. He talked about all spring, summer, preseason about being a more simple, instinctual, sort of violent defense, right? Like, maybe not as heavily IQ'd as the former defense under Tyler Santucci, who's now with the Ravens. They rotate in a ton of guys so they can play fast and play physical, right? And so they've upgraded that defensive front. They rotate a ton of guys up there. They went through the transfer portal to upgrade the secondary, so playing a lot of guys there as well. Now there's been some missed tackles, and there's been some blown assignments, and there's been some explosive plays. But if they can sort of continue that physicality, because they're really, really deep at the linebacker position, if they can continue that physicality, that's going to be big. They put an emphasis on getting after the quarterback. They did that against Gardner-Webb. So that we'll see if they can get to Cade Klubnik this weekend as well, because that's been a big point of emphasis this offseason as well. Getting in the backfield, tackles for lost, sacks, physicality, sort of violence, again, but big test against that Clemson offensive front.
What does Cade Klubnik bring to the table as the Clemson starting quarterback? Again, we know he's up for All-American honors. He's a 3-year starter. He's got a lot of things going for him. But what is the biggest challenge to the Georgia Tech defense that he's going to bring?
Well, that's an interesting question, because the first 2 weeks, Georgia Tech has sort of prepared for more of a dual threat quarterback, right? So I'll be curious to see what they sort of throw at Cade Klubnik, because he's seen everything, right? I mean, the guy's just like Haynes King, like he's seen coverages, he's seen personnel, he knows how to go through progressions, more of a drop back passing situation, right? That Clemson is going to throw at this Georgia Tech secondary. So how will they mix and match that up? And how will they try to get after Cade Klubnik? Because like I just said, getting in the backfield has been a point of emphasis for this Tech defense all offseason. But going against this offensive line and going against an experienced quarterback is going to present some new, unique challenges. So I'll be interested to see what sort of coverages Georgia Tech is throwing out there, what they're doing with their linebackers, who, again, mentioned is really, really deep unit this year. If they're trying to blitz early and often to try to get in Cade's head. But, it's feast or famine, right? You got to be dangerous, or you got to be careful with a guy like Cade, because he's going to pick you apart if you give him some options. And that Georgia Tech secondary is going to have to be on point. Getting their hands on balls, probably have to play one of their best coverage games of the season to get out of this one with a win.
When you talk about Georgia Tech and playing there at Bobby Dodd Stadium, it's not like Death Valley. It doesn't have that all around it. But when that place is packed, it's pretty tough for the opposing team. How key is it going to be to have that 12th man factor be in play on Saturday at the stadium?
It's mega. The Georgia Tech students the last couple of years have been phenomenal. And Brent Key's mentioned this a ton. Like, they've sold out student tickets this season. I mean, there was a bajillion of them there Saturday against Gardner-Webb. They are going to be lit, as the kids say, for this one on Saturday. And I hate to say problem, but sort of the curious aspect of this is sort of the rest of the fan base hasn't seemed to be on board yet. Like, there was only 37,000 fans in the stadium for the Gardner-Webb game. There were some traffic issues. There were some weather issues. They're playing Gardner-Webb. I get all that. But Brent Key even put a note on social media last week, like imploring the fans to fill this thing out and get into their seats to help this team on. Now, Clemson, rivalry game, they're bringing a ton of fans. This Georgia Tech team and this fan base is just yearning to get to that next level, to get in the top 25 rankings, to break that long losing streak to the Tigers. So I expect a raucous atmosphere for sure. It's just going to be a matter of, will that game be sold out? Will it be 80-20 Tech fans? Will it be 70-30? That'll be something to watch for sure.
When you look at Georgia Tech and trying to, get back to, this was a team that's 35 years ago, won a national title. So we know that they can do it on the national stage.
Yeah.
What would this win do for the morale and the psyche of this team to drive them forward, to kind of push them into the conversation, possibly for, an ACC title berth?
Yeah, I think it would be big, because if you look at Georgia Tech's schedule, what is after Clemson? Not a ton, right? Like, there's no Florida State, there's no Miami, there's no Louisville, there's no SMU. Now, they have some tough games at Duke and at NC State. I think at Boston College in November is going to be a tough one. But again, you're talking about, let's be honest, sort of those tier 2 teams left on Georgia Tech's schedule. So you get over that Clemson hurdle, you're sitting at 3-0 with Temple coming to town next week. You're probably the only other ranked opponent left on your schedule is going to be Georgia at the end of the year. And maybe you're in position to make that ACC title game by then anyway. So yeah, I mean, this is the first major hurdle on this Tech schedule. And to your point, if they want to take that next jump, and Brent Key has used that word a ton, jump to that next level, it starts with beating Clemson at home on Saturday. The stars have aligned for this Tech team and what they have personnel-wise and playing this game at home on noon kickoff to get this win and put themselves in position to make a run in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely think, like I said, I love Haynes King. I love the energy. I love the enthusiasm, the hard-headed football that he brings to the table. Him and Cade Klubnik going head-to-head. I mean, granted, they both play quarterback, so they're not facing each other. But that head-to-head quarterback matchup I think is where this game may be decided.
It's going to be fun. We should talk about 2023 when Haynes King went to Clemson, right? 4 turnovers in that game, and Georgia Tech lost 42-21, and probably, I think Haynes would probably agree, one of, if not the worst games he's played as Tech's quarterback. Now, a lot of those interceptions he threw weren't his fault, but they still went on the books as interceptions by Haynes King. So you have to think he's thinking about that game this week and getting a little retribution over Clemson. I mean, again, another feather in the cap it would be for Haynes King's career to go out there and really lead this team to a big win over one of their rivals. It could be one of those things they cross off the list. Haven't beat Clemson in 9 games. It's been a long time since they beat Georgia. And Haynes King's legacy is already up there pretty high. But to lead his team onto the field and be able to beat Clemson, that would be huge. We'll see how that injury progresses throughout the week. Again, if he can't go, I think they have a lot of confidence in Aaron Philo. But yeah, I would love to see this grudge match between Cade and Haynes. Again, I think it'll go down to the wire into 4 quarters, and excited to see both of them go at it on Saturday.
Give me 2 things that you want to see from Georgia Tech that if you see them early on, you think it's going to be a good day for the Techsters.
Well, back to one of your original points, that line of scrimmage, right? Can this Georgia Tech offensive front get some push? And I'm not talking 6-7 yards a carry, 2.5 or 3, right? Can they get a little bit of space? Because they've shown they have a great ground game with, Jamal Haynes and now his backup Malachi Hosley. They've proven that they can run the ball. And when Brent Key's teams are running the ball, they're almost unbeatable. So what will we see early? Will Georgia Tech be able to ground up some clock, chew up some yards in the run game? If they're doing that early, that's a good sign. And then defensively, Georgia Tech was successful last year when they sort of bent and didn't break. I don't know if that defense is going to translate to being that sort of defense this year, but you have to expect Clemson is going to make some plays, right? With their offensive personnel, can that defense hang in there and hold Clemson to some field goals, right? Instead of touchdowns? Can they get some turnovers? Can they make some big plays early? Like you said earlier, to rattle Cade Klubnik, can they do those sort of things? If Clemson gets the ball and marches down the field and is up 7-0, clearly that's not going to be a good sign for that Tech defense. So what sort of plays can they make to sort of swing momentum to their side of the field?
Chad Bishop, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and breaking down, talking about this game with us. We really appreciate it. Chad Bishop, he is the Georgia Tech beat writer for the AJC. Give him a like on social media. Follow him. If you're a Tech fan, you're going to get more information than you ever wanted, and it's all really, really good stuff. We appreciate his time. We will take a quick break and be right back on the Sports IQ.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. 800-507-7293. That's 800-507-7293. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it. And you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. 800-215-0341. That's 800-215-0341.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation. 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. Or visit them at neonrain.com.
Well, week one is in the books now in the NFL. I've got my thoughts on what I saw. Producer Tony, what are your thoughts initially coming out of the first week of the NFL season?
You know, I thought it was a great opening week for the NFL. The games were all exciting. Man, I was glued to Red Zone all Sunday afternoon. And then the Sunday night game was, of course, an instant classic between the Bills and the Ravens. And there are a couple things that kind of stood out. One, the Chiefs still have offensive line issues. They also have weapons issues. They lost Xavier Worthy, 4 plays into that game when he collided with Travis Kelce. That hurts them big time. They just don't have the weapons that they had when they had Tyreek Hill to stretch the field. And if you can't stretch the field, that makes it tougher and tougher on Patrick Mahomes to be able to move at will. So they're going to have to figure something out in a hurry. You know, Larry, one thing about drafting as late as they draft each year, because you're always in the Super Bowl or you're in the AFC Championship game, is no matter how good you draft, you're still not getting the caliber of players some of the other teams are getting. And you're getting the last of the second round. You're getting the last of the third round. You know, so too many years in a row of that can lead to some paucity in the cupboards, and it looks like it's affecting the Chiefs. That was the first thing. And the second, I was happy to see Green Bay as a Packer fan. The defense looked great. And kind of surprised at some Bears fans. I heard some boos last night watching the game in the fourth quarter. I know it's tough being as Bears fans, but come on. That team played their butt off last night. Booing them in week one, that's wrong.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And but to your point, I think it's the years of suffering. We go back to the Bears fired Lovie Smith after a 10-win season. What coach gets fired after a 10-win season? But they did. And they've had one double-digit winning season since then. I mean, it has just been, they fell off the precipice and they just can't climb their way up. And I think it was one where the expectation, the hype, it's Monday night, it's a new coach. Look, did they play better? Absolutely. Were they much more competitive? They let it slip away. I think they still they'll rally have a better season than what they've had. But I understand. As a Bear fan, I understand. You know, I agree. I thought the Packers looked really good in their game. I thought the Colts were surprising, scoring on every possession. Daniel Jones, new life. Anthony Richardson and his agent, they can seethe and sit and collect your millions because until he falters, and again, it's just week one. I mean, you know, but boy, he looked really good. He looked like a veteran quarterback, and they looked like they were a team that had a plan. You know, little emotions there as well. The late Jim Irsay being honored, there in the stadium. Peyton Manning speaking, so a lot going on there. Bills and Ravens, I think that's an AFC. We're going to see them again in January for the AFC Championship game.
Absolutely,
I think they are the two. Ravens lost. But these are the two best teams in the AFC, if not the NFL. I thought they both were outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's any question of that. And again, like I said, maybe the Chiefs dynasty is taking that step back, which makes the NFL a little more wide open, at least the AFC. And look, two things else that I saw. Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's got a little left in the tank. So, Pittsburgh Steelers fans are getting giddy. Let's see what happens. The defense looked a little porous again to me, especially against the run. Justin Fields was able to exploit them a little bit at different times, which is unusual for a Pittsburgh defense. And the Dolphins look lost. Yeah. That is a team that it could be a very long year down in South Florida. They did not show any emotion, any heart. I didn't see anything out of that group. And I think there's issues there behind the scenes that we just don't know about yet.
I think so too. Coming out of camp, you expect a little more oomph. And I'm with you. They were going through the motions, and I'm like, boy, it's week 1. If you're this blasé now, you got a long way to go. I agree with the Chiefs, and it's cyclical. This is the way the NFL is designed. To your point, the best teams get the last pick of the fresh talent, and after a while, look, you got to spend money to keep these players, and look, the run they've had is off the charts with what they've done. So in a cyclical fashion, it only makes sense that their dynasty may be slowing down. We saw it in the NBA with the Warriors, right? They were on top. They felt last year they had maybe one more year, and they're probably done at this point. It happens. Players age. It's not that they can't come back and be competitive, but in terms of them being, the scourge of the league, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think that happens. Another team they played earlier, but I thought the Eagles came out on opening night and did what they needed to do. We've said before, veteran team, a lot of guys back. I think they're still, probably the team to beat in the NFC. So,
absolutely. No doubt about that. And give them credit. They're still making moves. We saw the 2 moves they made yesterday. That is a front office that doesn't sit still. They are always trying to improve, and give them credit. A lot of those moves hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Moment of Awe is up next.
Fans of big sports radio and sports spectacular podcasts have a new home on the Chief Sports Network. Find your favorite programs and content all in one place by downloading the Chief Sports app in your mobile device. Created in South Carolina, the Chief Sports Network is the home of an expanding network of live and podcast format programming. It is also the home of one of the leading national college football podcasts, JC and Morgan, hosted by ESPN's Mike Morgan and 24/7 Sports' JC Sherbert. Download the Chief Sports app for free and find all of your favorite programming under one easy umbrella. Thanks to all of our markets for your loyal support of Big Sports Radio and our Sports Spectacular podcast, and we look forward to connecting with you anywhere in the world on the Chief Sports app.
Okay, time now for a moment of awe. It was on this date back in 2021, Tom Brady started his 300th straight game at quarterback in the NFL. No other QB had ever done that before. Not only considered the greatest QB, but also one of the most durable. It is unbelievable. Just the career he had, 7 rings, the GOAT. You got to give it to him. Tom Brady, moment of awe right there on this day. Thanks so much for our guests stopping by, Joey Johnston and Chad Bishop. We appreciate you as well. Hey, it's Tuesday. Make it a great one. Can't wait to do it again tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at SportsIQ LS. We'll see you next time.